All right, green and screamers. So I got all the plants back outside. I brought them in because of a chance of frost. So it's looking a little empty in here. I'm going to change it up, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing outside now. And a little update on what's going out today. So all the plants that were larger that I put in pots, that I brought back inside or back outside. A lot of them have already gone out. I got a lot of peppers and eggplants out. The big one today is I want to get all the tomatoes outside and all the basils. Flowers and stuff, miscellaneous stuff I'll put out, and peppers as I can. I'm making a new raised bed, which I'll show. Tearing up all the sod or all the topsoil. I'm getting rid of, and I'm starting to mulch it and make raised beds. My prop tray is doing excellent. There's some that are just killing it. This thing will be overgrown before I know it. And I'll get this basil out there. I'm probably going to have some basil snack tonight. That one I grew over the winter. That one's larger, but all those will go outside. Probably start beheading a couple of them so they don't seed or flower. I've been using some salt and pepper shaker glasses that I had rinsed out for doing some blueberry cloning. Hopefully those root. And so yeah, I'm also going to try to get the cherry tomato plants from last year's that I've been cloning this over the winter. I'm going to be putting all them out. This one. And then all my other basils that I'm starting in here. Some of them I'm going to be leaving in for a little bit longer. And then there's another little cherry tomato over there. But so, yeah, and some walking onions there. I'll be getting all these out as soon as possible too, and separating them because I want to see how the cherry tomatoes from last year do compared to all my new ones. Let's get outside. Alright, so out in the yard, this is the tomato and basil mostly that I'm going to be doing raised bed, just because it's got some of the most sun. I might throw in a couple pepper plants if there's seems like there's more room. So we'll get this going. I actually framed it out with wood now instead of using those green metal plastic pipes with ties. So I'm just going to be re-stapling up some of this fencing. I got another piece over there on the ground. But I'm going to be putting in some of the black gold stuff here and some mushroom compost to amend some of the soil. And hopefully I'll go through my compost pile and get all just the leaves, and I'm going to probably trim up a bunch of the leaves to lay down on top. To keep it as like kind of instead of straw, or maybe do some wood chips, so that way the dirt doesn't get beat by the sun all day, stays nice and wet. So over here too, this area has been one of the more sunny of areas, so I'm going to be chopping up. I've already been chopping up the grass, been sifting it out, dumping all the top of the grass into the compost pile. And so I'll be making some raised beds with some of the logs that I've had cut. And here we go. Here's all the pepper plants and eggplants that have come out so far. Strawberries looking good. All the leafy greens over in the back looking all right. So some of them are looking a little sad since they came out, but I'm hoping that that's just a transfer shock. But I got a bunch out here. This corner and this row here gets pretty decent sun. This one was big enough that I thought I'd try sticking 2 cayennes because I just have so many. It's windy. So I have them all staked up the best I can too. The potatoes, some of them popping up pretty quickly. Some of them, I tried some from seed potatoes, some from ones I've had from the store. Some from the ones from the store weren't looking that promising, but I'm going to give it a chance. So all the buckets are with potatoes. Garlic's looking strong. I put some sunflowers around and some marigolds out in there. Yeah, so we're gonna be just cleaning up the yard. I'm gonna try to get this tomato stuff and basil done soon, and hopefully we can get some of these raised beds a little bit done today, because this will be an area that I want to put a lot out in. I'm trying to maximize this area, leave enough room, just enough room for maybe a wheelbarrow. This guy, I think he's gonna maybe just be on the outside perimeter usage. I don't think this will be coming through the raised beds, but we'll make an area. All right, get to work. All right, so I've just been soaking it while mixing in the mushroom and cow manure compost here, and I've been mixing in some peat moss and some perlite in this first one, because this one was all just kind of the topsoil from my yard last year. So I'm just trying to get it boosted back up, get a good mix. So I've been wetting it, mixing it, wetting it, mixing it. And then once all of this is good and mixed, kind of like that top section there, I'll rake it flat, soak it real good, and then I'm going to bring out the tomato and basil plants. I might throw some other things in here, but we'll see, because I want to space them out good. And I got a lot of tomatoes and a lot of basil plants to get out, and more basil to come on the way. I might sow some seeds in here directly. I'm trying to figure out maybe just some flowers, some marigolds. And so once I'm almost done mixing this up, I'll get the rest of the fencing, the netting stapled up, and try to start working on my little system to roll it up to make it easier to get in there when it's time to start pruning and harvesting. Alright, so we're starting to put some tomatoes in the ground. Space them about 1 foot apart. I did do one in the middle here just because I think, there's all cherry tomatoes, these ones. So I might not do that going forward. I might just start doing the foot spacing, because I do have a lot of cherry tomato plants, and I do have the ones from last year I got to put in the ground. So once we space them out, I might throw some in between, some basil in between, and what have you. I put some mulch up top to try to keep the soil away from direct sunlight. This is just mulch from the trees that were chopped down in the yard, so it's good, some good wood chips. So alright, we're gonna throw the rest of these up, and then I'm gonna bring out some of the clones from the last year's cherry tomatoes, see how that goes, and then finish up the fencing on it. Alright, so it took longer than I thought, but I got all the tomatoes out. There are some that I didn't get to fit in here, because there's a good amount out here. There's probably about like 40 tomato plants out here or so, but so I try to space them out all pretty equally. There's a couple smaller ones I left inside, but it's all for the front row is all different types of cherry tomatoes style. It's called the 100S up here. I got the yellow cherry tomatoes here, and then here with the tomato I transplanted out, I'll probably pick that in a second. These are the ones I got a head start from last year. This one's already as tall as me, so we'll see how those do. I'm excited to see if they are big producers, if they start popping off right away. This one's a little weird. It grew a million. I've already started trimming some of the little leaves off, but I want to see what it does. Keeping it going. I'll prune it as it gets growing. And then I have Romas in the back and a hybrid Burpee tomato. So we'll see if the Romas and the Burps, the hybrids in the back, cherries up front. I don't have time to finish my new raised bed project over there, which seems to be getting even more sun now than the spot that I thought would be the sunniest. So this could be a new area for the rest of the eggplant, the remaining of the tomatoes, and other types of sun-loving plants that I'm going to have. So I'm working on this area. Hopefully have that up and running before a week. because it's back to work. So we're gonna have to juggle this while working. So I'm gonna have to put the fencing up on this just to keep them safe from any little critters, because I got tons of them. I'm gonna call it a night. So that's it, Green Screamers. Till next time.